crypto investment has become increasingly popular nowadays. While some see it as an opportunity, some see it as a big risk. So today we have got Annabelle Huang, Managing Director of the Amber Group, here with us. Amber Group is a global leader in digital asset and infrastructure. They work with different institutional investors such as token issuers and fintech firms. They are also a big market player in the space to provide liquidities on major exchanges with over $1 trillion of turnover since inception. Today, we're going to hear from Annabelle. Annabelle, very nice to have you.
Thanks for doing this with us.
Now, as an investment tool, what are the leading trends you see in crypto? And what should investors consider when they invest into crypto?
It's a great question, and it's something that we've been looking at over the last 5 years in our company's existence. And I would say the landscape changed quite a bit. Over the course of COVID, of course, we see everything going increasingly digital. So digital assets or crypto has become a lot more mainstream than what we saw 4 or 8 years ago. And that also speaks to a lot of the institutional money, sophisticated money going to the space. And I think what they cared about initially was that it is a diversifying asset to other traditional asset classes. And in the era of easy money, of inflation, then crypto or Bitcoin, Ethereum of the likes served as an alternative investment. But I think in more recent months, with the rise of NFT, a lot of spotlight has been on digital lifestyle as well. People realizing different use cases that blockchain can bring outside of just crypto or just economical growth or return from trading. There are real life use cases where it can expand to IP collaboration, to payment, really utilizing the underlying technology to make Web3 a reality where things run slightly differently from the Web 1 or Web 2 era that allows for more value creation. I think that's what makes the space very exciting. But when it comes to investment itself, I think investors are generally looking at the same things about asset security and then at the end of the day, asset appreciation opportunities. So I think in a volatile market like this, this is again top of mind. So we're glad that a lot of people are thinking about risk and return in different asset classes. And more recently, I think crypto has been correlated, very, very highly correlated with the risk assets like equities. So it's very interesting to see how this play out in this cycle.
Yeah. So for beginners like me, what are some of the recommendations you would make?
Again, a great question. I always say, first of all, do your own research. It is very important to understand the risk and return of different propositions, I would say. There's no such thing as low risk, high return, and I think I just want everybody to remember that. If you're promised that, you're going to find out the hidden risks somewhere else. So outside of that, do your own research. Most of the information is public. I guess transparency is one advantages of Web3 or crypto in general. A lot of information is out there in their white paper, in the community channels, so spend the time instead of maybe blindly believing some influencers or some one-sided messages, as we've seen a lot of that in the past. And ultimately, I think choosing a trusted partner, a trusted platform to invest in. And hopefully, I think outside of Amber, and I know that a lot of other players in this field, we're all dedicating ourselves to that.
That's great suggestions. So after I do all the homework that you talk about, I start choosing the crypto product, right? Which kind of crypto should I choose from is constantly in my mind. So how should I pick a good crypto product versus a not so good to invest in?
Again, a great question because we actually get asked that a lot. In our opinion, it's hard to choose a specific crypto that's going to outperform the rest, right? What we recommend is always starting with the majors. For example, Bitcoin's been around the longest, Ethereum the second longest, and there is enough market validation that we think the downside risk of going to zero is probably less than the upside appreciation, but that's not the same for some of the other altcoins out there. So what I usually recommend some of our clients who are new to the space is just focus on the majors, and then instead of trying to time the bottom, because trust me, nobody can do that, a favorite way of accumulating your position, in my opinion, is dollar cost averaging. So just set your goal and then start buying it weekly or monthly, because professional traders, even humans in general, we're very emotional. So when the market moves, we don't stick to the original plan and we'll deviate, and that's usually when people lose money. So set your dollar cost averaging time frame. You can do that on the Amber platform as well, and then additionally, slowly accumulate into the position.
I think that's a great suggestion. I was going to say, while crypto could be seen as generating great return as a possibility, I could lose a lot if I don't do my homework. So great recommendation. So tell me more about your company, Amber Group, and tell me more about WhaleFin. What is that? What does that do?
Yeah, so Amber, actually I like the name. So our CEO, Michael, was going to name his daughter Amber, but I think eventually became our company name instead, and I love it. And we started about 5 years ago, based out of Hong Kong. Grew from 6-man shop to now over 1,000 globally, with offices in Hong Kong and Singapore, of course, where our headquarters is, in Europe, in North America as well. So a really diverse team. Expanded our offering from initially more of a proprietary trading shop, benefiting from the arbitrage opportunities in the market back when it was very inefficient, to now servicing institutional and individual clients on all things in the secondary market, including OTC trading, in spot or derivatives, in borrow lending, in structured products, and eventually in payment and investment as well as providing a lot of infrastructure needed for the space. So yeah, I think it's been a tremendous growth for us over the last 5 years, and we're not stopping here. There's so many more products and services we're rolling out as well. And WhaleFin is one of those products or services that we organically just sort of decided to offer back in 2020, right before COVID actually. We realized the need for mobile-first user experiences. So I think for crypto to go mainstream, we shouldn't limit it to only the sophisticated institutions who traded with us, via Bloomberg, for example. It should just be as easy as clicking some buttons on your phone. And people are very used to using mobile apps to invest. So I think we decided that we also want to build our own product suite to let more users invest in crypto with very low hurdle. And our goal is to abstract away a lot of the complexities that you might face if you were to do a lot of it yourself. So you don't have to worry about creating your own wallet and then interacting with all the protocols on-chain and then monitoring your risks. You can just easily do it on the WhaleFin platform. So the product has iterated a lot over the years, and we're looking to add a lot of functions to make it into a simple gateway. The only thing you need to go from Web 2 to Web 3 to interact with the new technology with new asset classes.
That's very welcome news, because for an investor, it just means that they can invest much more easier with technology. Now, your competitors must be thinking quite similarly. How are you making sure that WhaleFin will differentiate and offer extra value propositions to the investors and your customers?
Yeah, I think our positioning is quite different. We built WhaleFin to make it into a powerful wealth management platform and services on the back of it, as opposed to a tool. So if you look at some of the other platforms or exchanges out there, it's simply a platform where you place your trades, but we focus on not just providing the tool, but also providing a lot of the educational materials around it, also to complemented with our own team members, so our private wealth management team that's around 24/7 to help a lot of our institutional high net worth clients with their questions, versus simply us being a platform where you have to do everything yourself. So I would say what we want to build is sort of a combination of the investment banking services, the private banking services, and the neobank services all together, with differentiation in our own product and services depending on the client buckets, but really focusing on services and focusing on long-term wealth management as opposed to short-term trading or gains, which ties into our ethos of really creating long-term value in this market as opposed to, we're only here for the short-term gain.
So Annabelle, you being an expert in crypto, as well as traditional asset, I've got to say. So what trend do you see in the crypto world, and how do you see the Amber Group and WhaleFin playing a role in the future trend?
Yeah, so speaking of the future, maybe I go a bit into the history of Amber. Most of us come from the traditional finance space, so we adopt the security first and the compliance first approach. I think that'll continue to play well in the future as well as this industry gets increasingly mainstream, and on the back of that we hope it's more regulation, more clarity in that sense, so we can all compliantly offer our services to more users globally. And our risk management and sort of the financial DNA, financial engineering DNA in us, combining with our newest effort into the consumer space, where we want to offer not just financial products, but lifestyle experiences to our user base. So I think that is actually something that we're very excited about. We've recently announced our partnership and sponsorship with Chelsea Football Club, and we want to partner with them to see for their fan base and for the masses what are the benefits that Web3 can bring. Maybe it is having NFT for their members, for the games, or even there's the recent sort of the move to earn or fitness to earn idea, GameFi idea that come out that could be a great fit with a crypto company partnering with a sports brand, for example. So I think the future is limitless, and then we're continuing to build upon our product on the front end, as well as our own risk management, our own infrastructure on the back end, to make sure that we're here for the long term, to continue to service our clients in the long term.
Wow, that's a lot of wisdom. Thank you, Annabelle. Now, the last question I want to ask you is, very rarely I see a young woman being part of a crypto company, leading the company forward. How did you make it? Like, what kind of advice would you have for not only young women, but young people?
Yeah, I actually reflected on that a lot. It wasn't really top of mind when I first got into space, because just from my past experiences at bank, my team was more on the FX structuring side. It was heavily male dominated. Even back in school, for my track, in math classes, for example, are also pretty male dominated. So I sometimes forget that I'm the only woman in the room. But then I'm glad that we are talking about this, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And then I really hope that more of us will do more to really, not to change anything per se, but not just to simply bring more female representation in the space. There are more female voices being heard. I think they'll naturally or organically draw more women in the space. And I feel like for the newer generation in general, the Gen Z and beyond, they're born digital native. They probably learn how to use an iPad before they can speak, right? And for them, I think the attraction of a digital asset, digital wealth, the idea of digital lifestyle, perhaps is just so intuitive to them. So I want to encourage more of them to just come try out the space. You'll find something that's interesting for you, and I think the growth factor is is just tremendous versus maybe other traditional asset spaces.
When we invest in traditional assets like equities, bonds, FX, mostly one of the most important things that we would consider would be the security, the platform that we trade in. So equally, when we invest into crypto, I learned from Annabelle that security is equally important. And I'm so thankful for a company like Amber Group and WhaleFin to really take care of the security of our crypto assets. Thank you very much, Annabelle, for your time today.
Thank you,
Pleasure speaking to you.